Hello, everyone, and welcome to Analytical Fanboys. I am, of course, one of your hosts, Simeon Scott, and I am joined, as always, by the aggressive Chris Gaston. How are you doing, sir?
Um, what in the fight? I guess apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm put. You're one of those guys who never got over during the ruthless aggression era. Is your script for this episode?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. That's a joke. Okay, that's the direction we're going. Okay.
Yeah. In this fucking episode, I make a wrestling reference. Uh, Have you noticed that how I've gone from like 0 to 60 on the wrestling references in the last 2 months?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's almost as if
Uh,
you have like a thing that costs $9.99 and has a bunch of classic episodes of wrestling.
I don't have that thing anymore, but WWE sure wants me to have that thing again. Hey, did you know
Well, if you
Elimination
sign up
Chamber's
for
coming? Hey, did you know Elimination Chamber's coming? Hey, did you
okay,
know you can get it for free? Did you know? Did you? Here's 50 fucking emails about it.
other than fucking the whole Ali situation, I'm super excited for Elimination Chamber.
I am too, and you can hear us talk about it this month on MMWP. End advert. So this month we're going to be talking about in a 5-issue independent miniseries from, I believe this was published by Dark Horse.
Image.
Image, yes, of course. It is called Infidel, and it is written by Pornsak Pichet. I'm not touching that last name, and it's drawn by Aaron.
Piacecciote.
Sorry.
Piacecciote.
And it is drawn by Aaron Campbell, and oh boy, this was certainly interesting, especially because this was my second time reading it. I put this on the list after I read it as it came out, and just absolutely loved it, and was like, this is gonna make such an interesting and dynamic discussion. And I went back to read this, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a minefield of a discussion, especially since well, I'll just go ahead and say it. This comic deals with a lot of social issues that are going on today, and I'm a cis white guy, and I've got another cis white guy here to talk with me about it. Cis white guy number two, what'd you think of this book? It says it was your first time reading it.
Um, a little known fact about me is I'm a fan of horror, but I do not seek out horror flicks.
Really?
Basically, the best way to put it is I will really enjoy specific horror movies that are put in front of me and told, watch this.
Hmm.
If that does not happen to me, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it. But some of my favorite movies are Predator, Alien. I loved Friday, not Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street. From what I've seen of Halloween is fun. Evil Dead, all that kind of stuff. I love that kind of shit. In this kind of shit too. So this is probably one of my favorite comic books right now.
Really?
I really, really, really enjoyed this.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Okay, I think that's the first time I've gotten a reaction like that from you.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the best way to put it is it's not perfect, but it's the perfect. I don't want to say B movie because that has a connotation, but it is the perfect B grade if this was like a test.
Yeah. Poor.
Because there were some things that I kind of was like, eh.
Well, that's interesting. And I mean, the thing about this with me is just like horror comics are exceedingly rare, and good horror comics are even rarer because most of the time they're tie-ins to existing franchises that don't work all that well. And when you do an original project, it rarely um, gets successful or gets any kind of notoriety to it. This kind of came out and right away was a thing a lot of people were talking about and were kind of interested in, who were already into indie books. And it's not kind of gone out of those circles a whole lot yet, but I feel like it's probably one of the most regarded books that came out last year.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. I haven't been keeping up with the review and critic sphere of comic books. But even when you say it's like an indie book, it's not like published out of some basement publisher out of fucking New Jersey. It's Image.
It's upper echelon indie because people consider and I'm guilty of this too. People consider anything that isn't Marvel or DC to be an indie comic.
Yeah, see, I'm much more of the belief that we have 5 major companies of comic books in America: Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, IDW.
I would say Boom Studios is getting up there too.
Yeah, but
Especially
I think Boom is trying to box God with IDW.
Yeah, and depending on how certain contracts with Hasbro go, that's either going to go great for them or terribly.
I'm always under the impression that Hasbro owns part of IDW.
So, are you one of those people who's in the camp that says for sure as soon as the contract is up, Power Rangers comics are going to IDW?
I think they're going to keep the team. Similar to how Transformers were on Dreamwave, and then IDW happened, and they just kept a lot of the same team.
That could be interesting, though. And this is neither here nor there when it comes to this discussion. But Power Rangers comics have been kind of weird, where there's no like consistent continuity. It's just a person gets a book and a run, and they do whatever the heck they like, and only kind of tie it in with the other books.
You know what? I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that for a comic universe. I wish more people would try that at least.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to get off of this real quick. I promise people who actually came here to hear us talk about Infidel, but like,
all 2 of you.
With what's going on in Go-Go right now, I really don't see how it's a prequel to Higgins' MMPR run. It feels like an entirely separate universe already, even though there's a scene in Higgins' MMPR run where they reference Matt, and it's made to be like a big deal.
Yeah. But not talking about our Hasbro overlords, because they've just been pillaging the figment of the idea of my wallet.
Yeah. Toy Fair's going on the weekend we're recording this, by the way.
Oh god. The fucking Ecto 1 Transformer.
Oh, so you're into that?
Oh, dude, it's Ghostbusters and Transformer on a mold that's actually good?
It's not for me, but that's also because I'm not much of a Ghostbusters guy.
I think I've told you this story once. There was one summer, I just watched Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2 on repeat all day.
Yeah, I think you have told me about that.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
But let's talk about...
but speaking of Ghostbusters...
Yes, there's ghost busting in this comic. Well, there's ghost exploding at the very least in the last issue.
And there's a direct reference to Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that. There's some cool pop culture references in this that feel totally natural and like aren't just like, here is current thing, let's talk about. No, it's fucking 30-year-old films that people this age would be talking about and referencing as like one of their favorites.
Yeah, but it was also more of like a reference to the buildup of spiritual energy and all this kind of stuff. And he was describing what this old occultist had this. It was a side character describing what this old occultist had done. And like he got to the end of it, and the 2 side characters go like, "You mean Ghostbusters?" And he was like, "Yep, Ghostbusters."
I was a complete idiot kid. Can't believe I believed in all of that. It's like, dude, you may have potentially summoned an actual demon.
Yeah.
And I love that they never go there. The side characters never say that to him. It's just like implied that they're thinking that, but they don't have the heart to tell him. Because like, how could you say that to how would you bring that up to someone? Like, you summon demons in my apartment complex, and we're currently trying to figure out how to get rid of them.
Not like, just demons, racist demons.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were egalitarian, I'd be all like, okay, fine. But like racist demons, oh boy.
Who announced their presence by literally saying "bitch cunt, whore."
Bitch, cunt, whore. I think I may have read in like one of the scribbles that the ghosts were talking about was like scarf head.
Yeah, I caught that too. That.
So.
Do you want to just jump into it? Because I mean, like, that is the bulk of what makes me interested in this book. Is
should we give the briefest summary, because we've been just talking around it, not of it.
Okay, so a young adult Muslim woman who is living in an apartment complex with her husband and stepdaughter and her mother-in-law, and she's having these really freaky dreams, doesn't know exactly what's going on, and she has reason to believe they might be real. Suddenly she starts seeing ghosts and things manifesting in the real world, and they start causing all kinds of issues in her life. Well, she's also dealing with regular life issues, and things kind of escalate from there.
Yeah. A big point of thing I want to mention, the ghosts really only show up during moments of perceived racial tension.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like intentional on the writer's part. It's very much
no. They are metaphor. They are metaphor for the underlying subconscious racist thoughts that people have that they brush off and be like, no, I don't really believe that. I'm not racist.
Mm-hmm.
It's less the overt get out of my country racism this book is talking about, and it's more of the underlying. To give an idea of a quote, goddamn terrorists getting into my neighborhood. Wait a second. They're just Islamic. I'm being an asshole. It's that racist thought that, unless you actually confront it instead of just ignoring it, can fester.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the message the book is getting at its core, which I really like, is that there's very few people who are actually racist. It's just we're all raised in a certain way that gives us certain inherent biases that are just always going to be there because of the way the human brain develops. And it's our responsibility to occasionally say, no, that's not right. I shouldn't say that. You got to have a filter on your mouth, so to speak.
Yeah, and you got to be able to confront, okay, why did that thought pop in my head?
Mm-hmm.
And figure that shit out, because the people who have went through that process, which a lot of them are minority people, in the book, see the ghosts as what they are, and they're there, and it's like, oh shit, this is scary. But the people who haven't, who just like push that thought to the side and go like, I don't really believe that, I'm a better person now, don't see them.
Mm-hmm. And I like how it's really interesting that the first person who starts seeing the ghosts is the character in the book that people constantly talk about. She's always trying to see the good in people. She's always the nicest, most compassionate person in the room. Because really, for people like that, that is your worst fear, that, no, I am wrong. Everybody else is, especially in today's world. Like, I am generally a guy who tries to think better of people. There's really two types of people: people who think people are inherently good and people who think people are inherently evil. I tend to swing towards the inherently good side of the scale, obviously, because I'm a guy who fucking loves superheroes.
Yeah.
And there's always that thought in the back of your head of, no, maybe I'm the one who's wrong. Maybe the reason so many people are caught up in these discussions nowadays, and it seems like it's the only thing people who aren't me can talk about, is because it really is the thing I should be talking about, and I should be thinking about this more consciously. And I won't lie, I have days like that, but more often than not, I do like to kind of brush this sort of discussion off and sort of leave it by the side and say, no, that doesn't matter. Like, I'm going a lot into personal politics here, but I kind of see myself at my core as an individualist. I take every person for what they are. Now, that doesn't mean I can't look at a group whole and spot similarities between certain people, but I also don't let that completely color my judgment ever.
Yeah. I'm much more of a belief that the inner core of people are extremely good, but it's covered in just the shit of life, and you got to be able to. There are some people where that covering is a lot less, and those are good people to be around. It's much nicer. But there are some where it's just covered, and you either got to be willing to clean it, help them clean it, tell them, "Yo, your shit's kind of shitty," and hope they clean it and all that kind of stuff. It's much, I believe, much more in like a yin yangy of the world. Yeah, but this book is just, you know what? This thinking about it, it kind of indirectly reminds me of
What?
Devilman.
Really? I haven't. I've only heard things about Devilman. It's something I've got to go and read at some point. How so does it remind you of that?
Well, I'm more specifically talking the original comic, the original manga.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Because everybody's talking about Crybaby now, and even though it adapts pretty much everything in the manga, I still really, really enjoy the manga, the original manga version. But basically, the whole point of the demons isn't, demons. They're a metaphor for the Vietnam War and how violence can infect people's minds and make them afraid. In a very similar way, violence infects the people of the apartment's minds and make them afraid of just general concepts, to the point where as the twist happens at the end of the book, the person they thought planted all the bombs and caused all the mayhem kind of didn't. It was a couple racist white yuppies saying he's not even racist, but partially racist. It's like, the best way to put it is racist. The racism was kind of the sprinkles on top.
It's the edge of racism, if you will.
Yeah. Because there was an Islamic former teacher who got fired, and he was being the best way to put it was probably his mental faculties weren't all there, whether due to stress, depression, mental illness. It was never quite stated in the comic. We never really quite meet this character, but these two characters get a couple old people, and they're all going like, everybody's a little bit racist. I mean, the Korean dad next door fucking talked about black thugs taking his job, and he doesn't realize I speak Korean. And it's like, okay. And that's an interesting thing, because people don't normally think of interminority racism, because the topic of racism is always, hey, white people, you shouldn't say the N-word equivalents. But you never think about, there is a racism there. There's a racism of Japan that never gets talked about within anime communities, because like the Mr. Popo racism, essentially.
Or like
where other cultures have taboos that Japan just doesn't know about, and so they just do it, and everybody goes like, what the fuck are you doing? And they go like, wait, what? Did we fuck up? Oh shit.
Or like the fact that Toei, for several years during the late 2000s, had one black actor who they would just have play a random human form of a monster in Sentai and Rider every year, and that was it. Other than that, it was all Asian people.
Until like Go-Busters, where the leader was a black man, wasn't it? But like, it's nice that a book about the underlying.
That's Lupin v Pataranger.
Oh right, I thought it was Go-Busters. Shit.
Yeah.
Hey, they both involved special operative crime fighty things.
Yeah, I was thinking. I had to think about it for a few minutes, and from every Black Sentai fan I talk to about are like, Hilltop is so stupid, I hate him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you ever talk to Ginger Herb about Hilltop, he'll just go off on that guy like crazy. It's wonderful.
Um, but essentially, these two yuppies are messing with this dude's stuff, and something explodes. Now, did the dude intend for it to be a bomb? Or did the dude intend for it to be something else and he just forgot about it? Who knows? That's not the point. It's the point is their reactions to him caused the explosion that basically killed them, the racist old people, the guy himself, and the Korean family, I think, too. Killed a lot of
Probably.
people.
They're never mentioned again, so I assume they
Yeah.
did.
And
Basically, actually, I think in either the first or second issue, they say everyone on that floor died.
yeah, so they were on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, they coalesce in a malicious spirit that the last book fucking goes like, maybe it was a jinn, which is a thing. Maybe it was like a Japanese evil spirit. Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's the fact that hate started this whole thing and just continues to infect and fester people. Like even one of the group of friends that seemed really pretty cool later on basically went like, those people, and it's like, did you just those people?
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of interesting scenes like that where a lot of the dialogue when they're discussing issues of race and stuff in this book feels so realistic to me because it's that thing of where like at the beginning I understand where you're coming from, I'm somewhat with you, and then there's always that little swerve where you're no longer with what that character is saying.
Like even Tom, the husband fiance dude to our
Yeah,
main character, um kind of coddled a little bit. Like he was so
he
worried of
he was
possible.
coddling and white knighting so hard. Literally, the way we're introduced to him is him yelling at his mom to check her frickin' privilege.
Yelling at his mom for possibly or maliciously forgetting that pork is not what's the Islamic kosher?
I don't
Is
know.
it
I'd have to go
halal?
back. I
No,
think
because
so.
he said pork isn't harem. Harem is against it. I'm trying to remember what the good stuff is.
I'll be
God.
honest. I don't know a lot about most religions.
Uh,
Hell, I don't know a lot about Christianity, and I was a Christian up until I was like 17 years old.
if you didn't know much about Christianity, you weren't a Christian. You were told to be Christian.
Yep.
Same way my mom used to say, "Oh yeah, we're Presbyterian," and I was
Hmm.
like, "Are we?"
When did that happen? Did I miss that meeting?
No, because she says that because my family's always gone to Presbyterian churches. My aunts do, my aunts and uncles do, my grandma does, her mother did, so on and so forth. But my generation, I just didn't go. We never did. So when she was like, "Oh yeah, we're Presbyterian," I was like, "Are we? Okay." But don't my other grandparents go to a Methodist? Yeah, but they used to go to a Presbyterian church. What the fuck does it matter? One starts with a P, one starts with an M.
Yeah,
Hell,
and that's really interesting,
I
especially.
even looked up and researched both Presbyterian and I think Methodist. I have to go back and research again. We're offshoots of an ethno-religious group of Christianity called the Huguenots
What
that
the
were like
fuck?
massacred in France in the 1500s, fled to all over Europe. That's why I have mostly Scottish blood, even though my last name is goddamn French.
The Huguenots sounds like the name of a children's video game. Like it has that same sort of feel as Kerbal Space Program.
I get that feel. I get that feel.
But
Religions. Weird.
yeah, and it also leads back into this book where the main character's sort of relationship with her mother, which is constantly referenced but never really addressed until the final issue, where she was often forced to sort of remain very strictly to their religion because her mother was very much about those traditions.
A
And
fundamentalist Islamic.
yeah, and she was much more, I don't want to say casual or like loose with the way she practiced her religion. It's just she had a different way of doing it that didn't line up with her parents. Sort of.
I don't want to speak for Islamic people. Again,
Mm-hmm.
my mom always said I was Presbyterian. But it seemed much more of like a modern version of Islam, Islam. You know, just some more modern. Yeah, you still pray 5 times a day, but you don't need to wear your headscarf all the time. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It seems much more like the Mustafa Ali Islam, if you get my drift.
That sounds like a book he'd write. The Mustafa Ali Islam, coming this summer from WWE Publishing. Get on it, Vinnie Mac.
God damn it.
Anyways, so we've been talking quite a bit about the story, and we've touched a little on the characters, but not so much on the art. How did you feel about the art in this book?
The ghost designs, when it got spoopy, really good design, really good thing. But when it was less spoopy, it still had an edge of spoopy, which is good. I know I'm talking like it. This sounds like I'm leading to a but I don't think I have a but.
It's just it works, but it's not exactly for you.
It works,
right?
but I think there's like a piece missing that would have nailed it out of the park for me. It's a 3 bases in. It's 3 bases. They got 3 bases. Oh, amazing! But it's 1 base short of a home run.
See, I think I'm kind of there too, but I'm not as like as you are. I'm more like, yeah, it's really good. It's really.
I think
solid.
I was more saying like, just because I was trying to parse out the information, and I was like, what's the noise that best fits it? No.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, like, one of the things that just impressed me is like Aaron Campbell shows a real knowledge of how comic structure works in this, where there's some great page turn like spook reveals, which is basically the comic book equivalent of a jump scare, but it's much more classy than a jump scare because it's not just, oh, we're talking very quiet, loud noise.
Yeah. It's more of like it's not a jump scare, it's a boop scare.
Yeah, kinda. And like I'm trying
it's a
to
hop
think
scare.
of. Yeah, that's a great term for it. And they all work really well in this comic because he isn't just constantly doing them. There's like one an issue, maybe there's an issue without any. And it always feels really well earned, where like we've gotten pretty comfortable. We've had this long dialogue scene of parsing out some issues with the characters right now. This character is going to do something else, and bam, we're in monster territory.
I know what it is that bugs me about the art because I'm looking back over some of the art.
Okay.
It's the way that they drew textures in this slightly chalky texture. Really? Shadows in this slightly chalky texture. I wish it was a little bit more solid.
Huh. I didn't mind that so much, but I can see why it would bug you. It's not the best horror aesthetic, but it's a pretty obvious one to go to for comics.
I don't mind it during when like things are like relaxed, like they're in the hospital, things aren't spoopy happening, and it does go deeper, darker shadows, more intense shadows. I think something about the texture just it feels dirty, but not in a deliberate way. You know what I mean? It feels like they were using the texture because they were going for like we want this to be kind of we want this to have something of a grime to the world that we're trying to convey, but it feels like it may needed like another like something else.
That's fair. I want to say I do also really like how when they're doing flashbacks, they use that aesthetic of childhood drawing. Like that's been a really recent sort of trend in comics that I think started either last year or the year before that, and it's a really good trick in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's a good way of also showing how long the two main female characters have been friends.
Because you could just assume like, oh, they met in college, whatever. It's a horror movie, or it doesn't really matter. But no, they've been friends since childhood because their mothers went to the same mosque, and there's a lot of interesting juxtaposition with that, especially because one of the other character is an atheist now, and there's a actually really strong scene. I forget what issue it is, but they're talking about how um, that person is an atheist, but all of her friends are religious, and she feels like, oh, I'm just a glutton for punishment, and kind of pointing out the idea behind the book. The main character says, no, that's perfectly natural. You were religious as a child, and your parents were religious, so there's a part of your brain that still associates religion with love.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
it's just different, and it's just understanding how different people be.
yeah.
Like even though she behaved in an abhorrent manner in the past, it feels very much like the grandma genuinely wanted to be better.
Yeah.
Because like she's working with the Muslim stepmom and the granddaughter to build Star Wars themed cakes.
Yeah, which is adorable.
Yeah, and like she makes the comment about pork. And when she realizes like, oh shit, right. But her son just blows up and goes like, what the fuck, mom? Because he's still hung up on, I want to protect the woman I love, even though she could probably protect herself.
Mm-hmm. And you know what that made me think of a whole fucking lot? People, transgendered people, and people who are friends of transgendered people yelling about getting their pronouns right. When transgendered people, and I'm not saying this is all transgender people, I'm just saying transgender people I have encountered will say to sometimes to people, it's okay, pronouns are tricky, I know, I've been through this a lot.
Yeah. And just for future reference, I've read and heard several places transgendered kind of is a little iffy, just transgender.
Okay.
Yeah. And there you go. That's basically the equivalent of what should happen.
Yeah.
It's like, oh hey, that's a little iffy. The best fucking example and explanation for this, how you should act and behave, I read on Twitter once. I think it was Nash from formerly of that Two Guys Collective. Did that. Yeah. He's coming back and doing awesome stuff.
The radio dead air guy.
Yeah. But he either tweeted out or retweeted something, and it was basically the equivalent of, hey, if I point out that you just said something racist, I'm not calling you racist. It's the equivalent of pointing out that your fly is down and telling you to basically telling you so you don't embarrass yourself. I'm not calling you a flasher. It's basically, hey, I'm warning you so you can pull your fly up. Not so you can go like, oh yeah, pull your pants down and just show your dick.
Yeah.
That's the mindset. And like I feel like I'm a little bit more used to being in that mindset because one of my best friends in high school was a trans man.
And you're also just a way more social guy than I am.
Yeah. But like I'm used to going through that mindset of, all right, cool. Like I'm even used to knowing how to use my own goddamn privilege to help other people. Like, and that's a skill that a lot of people who have a certain amounts of privilege just don't know how to do, like how to use. You know what I mean when I say use your privilege?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you see someone being a racist asshole to someone, you step up and go like, hey, no, man. Hey, fellow white person, fuck off.
Yeah, very, very much so.
But like, to keep going with this example, in high school, we were in lunch line, and a fucking asshole chick in front of us just looked behind me and my friend, and looked at me and said, like, that person's a girl, right? And I was like, I looked over to my friend and I was like, no, he's Seth. Just like that. No, he's a dude. He's Seth. And it's like completely shut her down. And it's like, okay, that's how you do it. It's just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because I didn't need to go to bat for him. It was just more of like, nope, I'm just going to shut you up.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they addressed you, not the other person. So it wasn't like you were being the husband in this book and coming in and shouting, hey, motherfucker, don't do that shit.
Yeah. And even then, it's very interesting now. Even the husband kind of got possessed by the racism ghost.
Yeah, because at the end, he just starts trying to kill the black lady because he thinks she might have killed his friends.
Yeah. And he's going, and I say racism ghost, he's much more on the pure adrenaline. I've been up for 5 days, and I am on edge.
And I've been through some traumatic shit.
Yeah. And he's lashing out, and the racism ghost goes like, hey, cool, negative emotion. Let me pick on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say the husband turns into a racist at the end. It's just racist can easily, that's a good metaphor. Racism can easily take advantage of very negative emotions.
Mm-hmm. And I know probably through this whole podcast, I've sounded like I'm just constantly bagging on this husband character. Like, there are good things about him. He does seem to genuinely love and care for the main character, and he does seem him like a pretty good dad and husband. It's just like that area where he's kind of sucky.
Yeah.
I mean,
and even then, even when the main character confronts him about it, he goes like, yeah, I know, but it's just I just don't want you to go through that. And it's like, okay, I get you, dude. I understand.
And he keeps trying to like say stuff like, my mom's not racist, she's manipulative. And I feel like everybody says that about their parents. I feel like everybody feels on some level my parents are manipulative because they fucking raised me, and a lot of what they did informs my personality.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I hear somebody talk negatively about their parents, they always go to, well, they're really manipulative and it's hard to be around them because I can see it now.
So like, I wouldn't say my parents are manipulative. First off, my dad's never fucking talks to me. Oh, God. My family has a thing with sons not talking to their dads. It's funny.
Huh.
No, I don't talk to my dad. My dad doesn't talk to his dad. I don't think my grandfather talked to his dad.
What the dude, you're gonna have to explain this off mic.
It's a variety of things.
Okay.
I think each situation's a little bit different, so it's not exactly 1-to-1 on any of them. It's just more of like, it's a weird bunch of coincidences.
Okay.
But my mom's less passive. My mom's less manipulative. She's more like passive aggressive.
Yeah, moms can kind of be that way. And see,
but
there
in like
I go.
In like a weird passive aggressive way. It's not like, oh, like it's not the weird guilt trippy thing. It's much more of the, Why didn't you do this? I forgot. You always
Mhm.
forget. Yeah, it kind of happens with ADHD. And she goes like, "You're too old for that to be an excuse." And it's like, bitch,
Mhm.
who's the one who put me on a short bus? That kind of thing does not just disappear.
Mhm. Or like, okay, great example using a piece of media that we both love. There, the episode of Doctor Who, Partners in Crime, where Donna comes home after like a day of investigating a bunch of shit, trying to find the Doctor, and her mom just starts going off on her the minute she gets in the door of like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you looking for a job? Why did you quit that job? Why did you blah 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 blah? And it's like meant to, they play it like it goes on for like an hour or so, and she's just sitting at the dining room table with a drink letting it happen. Ooh, I felt that scene really hard. That is a thing that moms just kind of tend to do because they worry about you and they want you to do good in life. And if you're not doing good in the way they perceive doing good to normally be, th- there's a reason there's a stereotype of moms nagging.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um,
and that could also be like another like underlying theme of this book is motherhood.
mm, yeah, because there's a lot of really good stuff with the main character and her stepdaughter where there's like this great monologue where she talks about, oh, I really wasn't sure about being a stepmom, and then there's these moments where I'm reading to her while she's trying to fall asleep and it all just clicks, and it's like that's super wholesome and nice. It's nice to see that in this comic about grotesque racist monster ghosts attacking people.
And in another similar way, it's the main character having to deal with, okay, maybe I should ask my mom for help for lawyers and such. And it's the grandmother realizing that she went over, what's the goddamn
She
word?
overreacted.
Yeah, that's the one. When the stepdaughter was just messing around with one of the main character's headscarves. And she was like, yeah. And it's like, yeah, no. It's a lot of like understanding, coming to terms. It's neat.
It's really interesting how this comic is kind of showing a lot of people at their worst points, but it's also very much about people do have bad points in their life, but people are also these creatures that grow and change and can get better as they go on in life. And that means things won't always be as bad as they are right now. Like, as much as this is a straight up horror comic, it has a very hopeful message to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unless you want to forget the final panel of the two white brothers trying to rebuild the racist ghost house.
Yeah, I think that's actually my least favorite part of the comic because it just felt like the obligatory, well, this could be a franchise, so we have to put some sequel bait in here that all modern horror has.
I think it's much more. I think it's more of like the mentality of race, the racist moment has passed or has been solved, and like, okay, cool, this person's no longer racist. Great, they've grown and they've changed, or this person's has escaped this situation. Good, the change, but inevitably there's going to be some rich white asshole dudes that are going to just feed it. And I say that more as a metaphor for this direct panel.
Yeah, and that's fair, but I don't know. It rubs me kind of the wrong way, but then
It,
again, I'm also not that much of a horror guy. Horror is one of those things where when it's good, it's extremely good. When it's not good, I cannot stand horror. It's not my thing at all.
yeah, like I'm much less of a like the horror movies I really like are like Alien, Predator, Tremors.
Well,
Um, what?
I'm like a guy who really likes Psycho and um, freaking Freddy's New Nightmare and stuff like that. And I saw Cabin in the Woods, and I said, "This is amazing. This is the most revolutionary thing to happen in horror in years. This wasn't successful. Oh, but shit like Amityville Horror is. This is why horror fans are idiots." I was that guy a few years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because we've run quite the gambit on this story.
Yeah. It's very interesting just the variety of side characters they had. I like the dude with the thin mustache who was like a genuinely nice dude trying to help and solve the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he got jacked and killed, it's like, oh, that's sad.
Um, I also really like how in issue 3 there's a couple scenes that felt very like, I don't want to say viewpoint reaffirming, but they felt very much like this is directly how I perceive the world. Where there's the lady who saw the main character push uh, her mother-in-law and her stepdaughter down the stairs, and the friend goes and she's like, "Why are you such a racist? Why did you accuse my friend of murder?" And she's like, "I didn't accuse her of murder. I just said I saw what might have been her pushing down the stairs. I don't know that that's what it was. That's just what I saw in the best way I can describe it." Even though she's like a really obvious 20-something white chick who talks about how she can't control herself in a Whole Foods.
Yeah, and like the panel where they're having that conversation, um, she's looking like like she stepped in a like a deer in the headlights when she goes, "You're Muslim,"
Mm-hmm.
and second main character girl says, "Yeah," and Basic Betty says, "You're friends with the girl upstairs, aren't you? Aren't you the Arab?" And basically, the other main female character, just like shuts that down. That whole generalization of people mentality is like, you mean the Pakistani American girl from Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, no, she may look a certain way, but doesn't mean shit.
Where it's like, this was a nice, well-meaning person, but they overstepped in a certain way.
And she even responds in the most defensive, like, kind of like the way it's the, excuse me, are you calling me racist? Because fuck you. And it's like, bitch, she didn't call you racist. She just said this was fucked up that what you did.
Mm-hmm. But it's also really natural that she would have that reaction because these days white people are kind of always on edge about being called racist because there's a lot of people who say racist shit and are white, and so it feels like everybody else has to kind of raise their level and be on guard more. And then when you aren't, you're like, no, no, not me. I do good. Like, that's the natural reaction of, I can't be the bad guy. But his
Yeah,
book is very much about, like, you have to be able to
confront
confront
that.
that and go, well, if I'm not the bad guy, why did I say this, and why shouldn't I say it again? Or why should I say it in a different, less bad way?
I, if I'm not the bad guy, why am I being called the bad guy? It's that, it's like that one scene from that British comedy that's a gif everywhere of the guy in the skull hat with the hat with the skull on it and the metal skulls on his military jacket, and it's just like, are we the baddies?
Yeah. Or oh, I completely forgot what comedian it was. I literally had him in his head while you were saying the "Are we the baddies" thing, but there's a there's a comedian somewhere who said, like, if your friends call you an asshole, that is not the point where you get defensive and start going, "What the fuck? I'm not an asshole." That is when you immediately go, "Oh shit, okay. I I guess, right? Because your friends are the people who know you your best. So if your friends say you're being an asshole, that is a like giant red flag right there.
Unless you like are in the middle of banter and you go like, you fucking asshole. That's a difference.
There's a difference between you fucking asshole and dude, you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
And then there's another conversation like just a couple pages later in that book where Finn Mustache Guy and Bearded Guy are. I'm sorry, we can't remember any character names in this podcast. I'm sure
the
it's
only character name I remember is the husband, and his name is Tom.
I remember the stepdaughter's name, Chris, with a K.
K-R-I-S.
Yeah. But there's a scene where those two are talking about how like he had a whole conversation. Finn Mustache Guy had a whole conversation about one of his friends in college was racist or not because she was only attracted to white guys, and it kind of gets into that whole thing of like this is stuff that I think of in the back of my mind all the time. Is if you're not attracted to a person of a certain race, sexually speaking, does that make you a racist? Where is the line there? And the truth is, the line doesn't fucking exist. It depends on who you are and how you feel about those kind of things.
And it also depends on how you behave with it.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. If you go like, I don't date black guys, it's like, no, that's fucking racist. But if it's like, oh yeah, I've just never really found one I'm attracted to, it's like, oh, okay, there's wiggle room there.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, there's some really strong, relatable conversations in this book, and that's part of what really made me fall in love with it.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? I just want to briefly mention about the ghost designs.
What?
Because they're very spoopy, very creepy, but it feels like like someone stepped into a time-lapse photo and got repeatedly photographed over and over again and made that. You know what I'm talking about?
Kinda, yeah. A lot of the expressions in this book in general also just really look like snapshots.
Because it very much feels like it's like what we're looking at is a spirit moving across time, and it's just photographed the same spirit 3 different times and molded it together, and it looks horrifying, but that's because it's like overlaid on top of each other, and it's a nice design for a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to briefly mention that.
Like I'm also just I'm scrolling through some panels of the ghost right now, and I'm really thinking like it's a pretty original thing too, and like that's rare to say about horror. Like I've not seen designs that look too terribly much like this, especially with the sort of chalky filter everything has over it. It gives it this very unique and sort of dirty, grimy, eerie feel.
Yeah. It's just a nice way to design a ghost, because you're used to seeing like the fuzzy shape kind of ghost or things like that, or if like you watch or read a lot of Japanese horror, you're used to the ring style ghost, that kind of thing. It's just a nice different way of presenting an otherworldly creature that I don't necessarily want to see all the time, but it's nice to see here.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to really touch on? Because like I said a little bit earlier, I feel like we're kind of starting to scratch the bottom of the barrel as far as stuff to discuss here.
I really enjoyed the book. I recommend everybody give it at least a go. If you are one of those kind of people that's very much, God, another story about race in America. First off, fuck off. But second off, give the book a read anyway, because you need to be fucking educated.
And that's something I do like about this book is that is generally my reaction to a lot of those stories nowadays, because, and here's the big but with that, it's a lot of stories that deal with race these days feel very much somebody getting on a soapbox and screaming, "This is how everyone should feel," borderline, everybody needs to agree with me on these issues exactly. This feels like here's just a realistic depiction of the world we're in now, and some characters with varying degrees of extreme or not so extreme viewpoints in relation to it. You make your own judgment calls, but also here's sort of a central theme woven through it subtly, and that's what I call a good fucking story.
Yeah. I'm just kind of glad that Get Out kind of broke this ground of, all right, cool, we can tell these stories now. Sweet. Because Get Out's not about atypical racism. It's about very much the that's what it. Have you heard of? It's a common thing in academia and theory and stuff like that about this kind of shit. The model minority.
No, I don't believe I've heard that term before.
Model minority is basically a term and a concept that the minority race has a model version. Like this is how an Asian should be. They're good at math. They are hardworking and honor-bound people.
It's basically a nice word for stereotypes.
Yeah, it's the nice stereotypes. It's the model minority. Black people, they're really, really fast. It's that kind of shit. That's what Get Out's about a lot, about how at least within the family and people in the neighborhood of that story, that they say they are not racist. They do stuff like vote for Obama and shit. But underlying that whole mentality is they believe they're better than the other person anyway. And it doesn't matter any of this kind of stuff. They just want your body. Because that's the whole point of Get Out, is they brainwash you and implant into their consciousness.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say on this book. So, what do you say we go ahead and hit on over to everybody's favorite segment, Fucked Up True Facts with Chris?
Apples stay afloat in water because they are 25% air.
Huh. That explains why dried apples taste like fucking nothing. Because I've been getting into eating dried fruit as snacks as part of my Get Healthy initiative, and I've discovered the only real good dried fruit is bananas.
Hey, fucking, there's one that's good. Apricots. Apricots are good.
I haven't tried apricots yet. I may have to do that.
Dried apricots are pretty smumptious.
And I mean, like, coconut and blueberries aren't bad. They feel like they should be mixed in with something else.
Oh, yeah. I had some blueberry pancakes the other day. Fucking delish.
Oh, dude, I haven't done that in so long. Blueberry pancakes is like, that's one of those things that I kind of accidentally left in childhood. I need to bring that back.
Yeah. Well, we get a lot of fresh produce because we live like 5 minutes away from a produce stand.
Nice.
Yeah. And they give me free shit all the time.
No, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I like today I got like 3 onions, 4 lemons, a thing of broccoli, and a whole flat of eggs.
Well, that's like 2.5 days worth of meals right there if you play it out right. And by that I mean only just eat the raw fruit, because I don't know how cooking works.
Cooking's cooking.
Anyway, you want to find out what we're going to talk about next time?
Sure.
Okay. So next time on Analytical Fanboys, we will be discussing a Chris suggestion, It's Alive with Brad, Season 1. What the fuck is this shit?
Speaking of cooking, It's Alive is a YouTube web series created by Bon Appetit, which is a cooking magazine, where Brad basically makes fermented foods.
Huh.
So he control rots recipes.
Interesting.
I think in the first season he makes sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, a bunch of stuff. Makes a bunch of stuff.
Well, that'll be interesting because.
But also it's not just what he cooks; it's the way they produce the videos are some of the most fun videos I've ever seen on YouTube. Specifically, with the way Brad presents the information, the cameraman records the information, and the editor edits the information. Because you have Brad, who's riffing and telling jokes all on his own. You have Vinny, the camera guy, recording things in a certain way, or leaving things in, or recording things for a little bit longer than they should, for comedic effect. And then you have the editor layering other things on top of all of that. So it's like they put a lot of effort into the videos, which is nice.
Well, that's interesting. I'll probably be able to get started on that right away tomorrow while I'm editing this, since it's a YouTube show.
Yeah. I'm actually getting you the fucking playlist right now.
Dude, I've already got it up.
Okay, cool.
It's let me just paste it so we can be sure. It's this thing, isn't it?
Yep. That's it.
All right. Well, we'll be back in a week or two, depending on other podcasts and scheduling and stuff, to talk about It's Alive with Brad. And until then, Chris, why don't you tell the people where in the World Wide Net they can find you and what the heck it is you do?
I make video editorial bullshit things. I can be found on YouTube at Boingo Writer. I can be found on Twitter at Boingo. Let me start that over so you can actually hear what I say.
Oh, that's my favorite Twitter account, Boingo.
It's at Boingo_writer. God.
Seriously, dude, you sounded like Colossus in the X-Men arcade game.
It's Link throwing up.
Exactly.
Boingo_writer is my Twitter. And you can find my Discord server in the description below.
What's your fucking Instagram? Because you brought that up last time, and then I went looking for it because I realized I didn't know you had an Instagram, and then I couldn't find it.
My Insta is Boingo_writer.
Huh. I'm gonna search. We're gonna do a little experiment. I'm gonna search Boingo_writer on Instagram right now, and we're gonna see if I can find it.
1, 2, 3, 4. My fifth picture is a selfie with me and Aleister Black.
Yep, there the fuck you are. How come I couldn't find it last time? That's weird.
Yep. Speaking of that, I have a bunch of pictures for my time at an NXT house show if you want to look at them.
Yeah. All right. Is that everything?
Correct.
All right. Well, in that case, my name is Simeon Scott. I am an online video producer, creator, person, thing. I have a website, which just takes you to a playlist of every video I've ever made. That's SimeonScott.com. You can support my work through patreon.com/SimeonScott. I've got a Twitter at @ThatSimeonScott, and I have an Instagram, which is just _Simeon_Scott. It's very simple. A lot of brand synergy going on there, if you hadn't noticed. But this is a podcast which is produced by Modular Media, a collaborative. What the fuck was the thing again?
Cooperative is the most apt term because the other ones actually have meanings.
It was like Free C. It was creative, collaborative, coalition. I got it. Collaborative coalition of creators was what we had
Yeah,
said.
but coalition actually has a direct meaning when it comes to business organization.
Oh.
Because basically, a cooperative means that there can be an elected leader. Coalition means that there cannot be an elected leader.
I see. Okay, well, henceforth it shall be known as a collaborative cooperation of creators.
Yep.
Still say free C. We are still free C. Ha 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 ha. Hey, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel by clicking that button down below. If you want to listen to our podcasts and other stuff on the go, there's a Google Drive folder down in the video description. You follow us on Twitter at the Modular Media, and you can subscribe to our subreddit, which is just r/modular media. And I think that's going to do it with the links and things. So we will see you next time when we will be discussing fucking It's Alive with Brad. I forgot the name for a split second there. Anyways, bye!